Hi, this video is the part 4 of Taiji Faucet Light Router application. In the previous tutorial, I walked through how to create a new application for the service, Taiji Faucet service, and how we can deploy this service to the Kubernetes cluster with console registry and discovery. And this tutorial walks through how we can implement the router so that you can have a static IP address that is accessible from the internet, connecting to the API built and deployed on the Kubernetes cluster. So the next step, we're gonna create a single page application on the Light Router instance so that the Light Router can serve the SPA application from the same instance, and the SPA can and also route the traffic to the backend APIs. The configuration you can find the configuration in the NetworkNT Light config test Light Router Taiji Faucet. Here we have a config folder. We have a view folder which contains a single page application built on React. And we have Docker Compose. I'll walk you through all the configuration. Okay. So here's my local folder for exactly the same like the GitHub. This is a Taiji Faucet, and in the config folder we have a client trustor. This client trustor contains 3 certificates, can connect to the backend server, also the console server, which is HTTPS and HTTP2 enabled. We have a client.yaml. This is normal, nothing different. Console, specify the URL for the console server. Handler.yaml. So this is very important when we start to supporting single page application from a Left4j instance. Here you can see we have this path resource handler defined here as a resource. As part of the handler, all the handlers available. Also, here we have default handlers is defined as a resource. So basically here we define all the paths for the APIs. Like you can talk to the backend faucet. You can get the health care, health check, and you can get server info. However, if none of them paths matched, it will basically fall to the default handler, so that the resource will be called. The resource handler here defined the path resource handler will be responsible for rendering the single page application. We have a path resource .yaml file. You can see here the path, which is specified what's the path for a single page application. Normally, you just use a slash, meaning when you type the website like a local host slash, it will be matched to this path. And the base will be the folder who contains a single page application within the Docker container. If you want to do the debugging, you can specify the absolute path in your local directory, so that you can start the router instance in your IDE, and you can debug how the router works. So here, because we are gonna use Docker Compose, we use /public. So this /public will be internal in the Docker container. This is normal, just match the path to a service ID to access the backend service in the Kubernetes cluster. Secret, you have console token, and the router define all the router properties. Server, service. Yeah, so if you look at the view, we have a single page application created from create React app, just run the command line, and you can see after the build, the final release goes to view/build folder. It contains the index.html and all the artifacts for the site rendering. This is another file very important, the Docker Compose. And if you look at the Docker Compose, we basically get the latest Light Router instant image, and map the port number 8443, 82, 8443 inside, and pass in the config, which is this folder, map to in container/config folder. Also, we map the .view build folder to public. So basically, within the container/public, just map to this folder, the build folder. So this contains your single page application, so that the router can render this application from this /public folder. Now let's try to get this started. So this is a terminal. We are in the exact same folder: light config test, light router, Taiji faucet. So in order to start, we just do this: Docker Compose up. You can get the light router instance started. It's up already. And what do we need to do? Go to the browser. So now you can see we have this React application rendered on the browser. So the next step, you will be just updating this React application to talk to the backend API, which is exactly served on the light router instance. Another thing we need to do is, now we are using the port number 8443. We might need to change this to 443 so that you can use normal HTTPS port. So this draws conclusion for this tutorial. There are still a lot of things to do, but this is a starting point to get the router to render a single page application. You can use React, you can use Angular, any kind of like a single page application. Thank you, bye.